Here we go with the test drive of the all-new Peugeot 408. I already had the chance to present the car to you a couple of months ago at its world premiere, and now we can jump in for the first test drive with a plug-in hybrid version. I hope you join me. Welcome here with me, Bernd, and the Peugeot 408. French brand Peugeot sees a gap between the compact 308 and 308 SW, the estate wagon, and the midsize sedan and station wagon, the 508. This is the all-new 408. It is based on the same platform as the two other mentioned Peugeot cars, and within the Stellantis group, the EMP2 called platform and architecture is also used by cars such as the Opel or Vauxhall Astra, the DS4 and many other cars, including vans and minibuses. So there's a slightly or small gap between the 308 and the 508, but if you see the car, the gap isn't that small. The 408 measures 4 meters and 69 in length, so it's no compact car anymore in my opinion. And the wheelbase has been extended to 2 meters and 79. That already promises a lot of space in the interior of this fastback midsize car. In Europe, the Peugeot 408 will come as a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder petrol base version with 130 horsepower and a plug-in hybrid with 225 horsepower system power output, and a little bit later there will also be a 180 horsepower version of this plug-in hybrid. In overseas market there will also be a 215 horsepower pure petrol version, and I would be curious to test drive this one too, because I think it will be quite powerful here in the 408. The plug-in hybrid we have here can be charged with up to 7.4 kilowatts of charging power. The battery has a capacity of 12.4 kilowatt hours, and according to the WLTP cyclists, that means 62 to 64 kilometers of electric range. Here at the rear we have an uncolored bumper, I quite like that, and the tailgate opens electrically. The boot capacity of the pure petrol versions is 536 liters. The plug-in hybrid has got left 471 liters only. Why that? So we can look here beneath the floor. Of course we have the battery, and here you see battery cooling vents as well. So here's this, the space for the battery. The backrest of the rear seats can be folded down, and then you can of course increase the loading capacity. However, there's no flat floor if you increase that, but still for sports equipment like bicycles, skis, whatever, surfboards, there is enough space. Let's see if there's enough space for me inside of the car. My height is 1 meter 92 centimeters. This is 6 feet 3 inches, and I have a quite spacious interior here in the second row, especially if you compare the room here to the 308 or also the Peugeot 508. They are both quite tiny, and the 408 is definitely the better family car compared to its two brothers. And if your family has also small children, you might use kids seats with Isofix system. The Isofix cassettes are here behind these zippers so that you can fix the seat. There are air vents for the rear passengers, one USB-C and one USB power socket, and storage room here, as well as storage net here at the back side of the front seats. In the door panel you have hard plastics, but I quite like the design and the colors. And here you've got the metal speaker of the optional focal sound system, some nice contrast stitching here, and in the door you can also place a bottle for your journey. What do you need for a journey? A driver, of course. The driver sits in the cockpit. Let's go there. The front seats are quite comfortable. You see a nice Peugeot logo as a stitching here in the headrest, and I have enough space also for the legs behind the small steering wheel of the Peugeot iCockpit. The so-called iCockpit architecture means we have a small steering wheel and instruments right above the steering wheel. Depending on your body size, it's easier or less easy to have a look at the instruments. For me, that's quite fine. We have full digital instruments. It's a 10-inch display, and you can, of course, change what you see here. Here we've got the energy information, we've got the instruments, driving assistance, and then you can also have sat-nav information, etc. And there's a 3D layer, so whatever here, for example, the trip computer and whatever information you need at the moment comes a bit closer to you virtually. The buttons in the steering wheel are still physical buttons, and here you can also activate and deactivate the driving assistance, so the lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control, for example. That's all quite easy to understand. In the center console we have a touchscreen display, and here, for example, you can access the sat-nav. That's a TomTom sat-nav, and you can also, that's quite nice, we have an iPhone connected with Apple CarPlay, and then the car asks you if you want to use the Apple CarPlay or the TomTom sat-nav. I quite like that. There's a physical home button as well as other physical buttons here. Peugeot calls it iToggles, and you can also configure that iToggles bar for your individual needs. For example, if you don't want to have the settings here, you have to push it a bit longer, and then we say we want to have the help button there, for example, then that can be easily removed, and so you can, as said, configure it to your individual needs. Energy means all the hybrid relevant data. We've got the eSave function to save the energy that's stored in the battery at the moment. You can add charging times, and here we see statistics on fuel and energy consumptions and the energy flow while driving. Wherever you are in the menu, use 3 fingers and tip on the touchscreen, and you directly come back to the home menu, and that's quite a nice shortcut, isn't it? We still have physical buttons underneath for all the aircon functions and to access the menu of the ADAS, so the advanced driving assistance systems, and there's a knob to adjust the volume of the audio system. Apple CarPlay can be used wirelessly. For Android Auto you still need the USB cable connection, but if you have an iPhone you can charge it here then wirelessly while using Apple CarPlay. Of course, any other QI standard smartphone can be charged here as well. There's a small knob for the 8-speed automatic transmission. Here you can adjust the drive modes, and there's a lot of storage, not only for the smartphone here, but another storage compartment here, 2 cup holders and storage in the center console of the car. So it's well done cockpit, nice materials, nice finish. And here is the engine start button. I press or push that now and we start our test drive. We could not achieve the up to 64 kilometers of electric range. Some 42 was possible, and that I would say it's the daily average. Now we are in hybrid mode. We are going uphill, so the petrol engine comes into play. You slightly hear the 4-cylinder, but still it's a well-balanced system, and I like the power of the car. The system power output is 165 kilowatts or 225 horsepower, and there are up to 360 Newton meters of torque. That is quite a lot, and you can really have a little bit of fun here on curvy roads. The petrol engine's got a maximum power output of 180 horsepower, so 132 kilowatts, and the electric motor is up to 81 kilowatts, so 110 horsepower, and there's an 8-speed transmission. And now I have to overtake a cyclist, and yeah, the car is quite fixed. In pure electric mode, the top speed is 135 kilometers per hour, and in the hybrid or sport mode, you can achieve up to 233 kilometers per hour. The suspension is quite nice, there's a lot of comfort, but still you have feedback from the street, and that's also the case for the steering. The small steering wheel feels a little bit sportive, but also there's quite not a lot of feedback from the steering. Again, I have to brake because of cyclists. We are here in the hills north or northwest, I guess, of Barcelona in Spain, so a lot of cyclists here. But now the street is free again. I can accelerate, pedal to the metal. Now the petrol engine is working, the battery is quite empty, and we are now 90 kilometers per hour fast again. And yeah, nice car, comfy, lot of space, and you still can have some fun with it. I like the Peugeot 408. It's a nice car, beautiful design, there's a lot of space in the interior. I like the suspension, and I also like the hybrid powertrain of this hybrid 225 version. Talking about prices, I can only tell you the German prices. The car is not cheap. While Peugeot is moving from mainstream to, let's say, upper mainstream. The base price of the 130 horsepower 3-cylinder petrol version is 38,800 euros. It's slightly less expensive than the 3008 SUV version, but a couple of thousand euros more expensive than the 308 station wagon, but still cheaper than the 508. So it's really in between these cars, and there's a nice gap Peugeot filled in their portfolio, and they filled it in a nice way. Our test car is a GT Hybrid 225, list price of 51,000 euros, and here we've got additional painting, Exterieur red, the color is called. We've got 20-inch rims as an option, panoramic sunroof, leather upholstery, and so on and so on. So the list price of our test car is no less than 58,700 euros. This is quite a lot indeed. But for that money, you get a nice car, well equipped, spacious, and yeah, I like it. My conclusion is, why not a Peugeot 408 instead of another SUV, instead of another mid-size station wagon? Let me know your thoughts. I'm curious to read your comments and will reply to most of them. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.